Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. All we need is accessible and inexpensive. All we need is accessible and inexpensive. Agreed? All we greed. Now I know the grammar is incorrect, but work with me. All we greed is inaccessible and expensive. All we greed is inaccessible and expensive. When we live by need, that prefix IN is in front of expensive. When we live by greed, that IN is in front of accessible. Meaningful Mornings is our friend, our best friend. No best friends stay together for 800 mornings. So early in the morning. Challenging us to shift how we're living from greed to need. Verse 22 is a verse that, if the rest of Bhagavad Gita is forgotten, this verse cannot be forgotten. Ananyas chintayanto mam. Swami Brahmananda, who is the co-teacher of Swami Vivekananda. I had read in one of his books that 3/4 of our mind, 3/4 of our thoughts should be on the divine. Only 1/4, the residual mind, the residual thoughts, should be on the functional. And that's exactly what Sri Krishna is teaching. Now gauge for yourself what percentage of your mind and thoughts is directed to the divine. And as you think, so you develop. Pujya Swami Tejomayananda had shared with us, to be a bhakta, to be devoted, dedicated the way that Sri Krishna wants us to be, requires sannyasa. Now, if you connect these teachings that I presented to you, this sannyasa is not external. The sannyasa is internal. It is changing how you're investing your thoughts. Isn't that accessible? Can you do it? If you can't, all that's holding you back is not outside, it's inside. And inexpensive. Is it expensive to think? It's expensive to overthink. It's inexpensive to think. Ye janaha paryupasate. When Pujya Swami Tejomayananda used to come to North America, or when I'll be with him in India, whenever Sheila was with me, meaning when our kids were not born and so not around so much, when he would be around, I would have a laser focus on him and what he's doing and what he needs. Sheila would share, it's like you go into machine mode. You go from human mode into machine mode whenever Puja Swami Tejomayananda is around. It's not irrational. If my purpose is divinity, how am I going to get there with the map? How am I going to follow the map? With a guide. Not being laser focused on guide, map, divinity, that's irrational. That's ego mode. So it's not machine mode, it's bhakta mode. We have to come out of this idea of this is irrational, that being ordinary or egotistical is how we should be living. It's shared in Srimad Bhagavatam that Rishi Prahlada, we also call him Bhakta Prahlada, was so focused on Bhagwan Vishnu that he became Bhagwan Vishnu. Every quality of the divine, Rishi Prahlada had the same qualities. And that's why he felt him everywhere. In the pillar, in the space. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam. While I've been traveling, I've been meeting people who I've never met before. And a common question that they ask is, why do you do what you do? And they share that with that attitude also. And for those who are open, I share with them that I'm holding the hand of God. All that we are doing, it is the hand of God that is directing us to do what we do. And we have a choice to either struggle with holding that hand or to surrender holding that hand. If you can visualize a toddler and you're crossing a road, you're holding that toddler's hand, and that toddler has two choices. Either to struggle, but you're still holding that toddler's hand and crossing the road, or that toddler can surrender. You're still holding that toddler's hand and crossing the road. So we're all holding the hand of God, but it's a matter of whether we struggle with that, whether we surrender with that. And a way to reflect on this more universally. If I were to ask you what goals you have in life, some may share, this is our family goal, this is our professional goal, this is our family goal, our personal goal. We can't have many goals. If we have many goals, then what's happening is there's a conflict of goals. There's a dissipation. If you have one goal, that one goal is to surrender to that hand that is directing you, there's such a surge in energy, enthusiasm, empathy. Reflect lots, especially those who are sort of younger, who have all of these goals for life. One goal. That's the only way that one can surrender to life, the divine, that potential being invoked. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. If one is living like this, Shri Krishna will carry us. Every facet of us, he will carry. He's already carrying us, but we're not enjoying the ride. To enjoy this ride, the yoga that Sri Krishna is referring to here is to bring more serenity to us. And when that serenity is complete, the kshema is joy. This is why I chant, be safe, be sound, be serene. That's the yoga. And the fulfillment of that is being joy, which is the kshema. Pujya Swami Tejamayananda described this verse as most beautiful, and I feel that we've invested quite a bit. There's still so much to reflect on. Everyone's feeling moved. Okay. In verse 23, Sri Krishna is taking the same perspective, but sharing this from those who are ignorant and apathetic about how they're living, about the hand of God. Ye pyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. I'll translate each word and then explain this in a summary. Ye is those. Api, also. Anya, others. Not ananya, but rather anya. Other what? Devataha, bhaktaha. Those who are devoted to other goals. Devataha can mean other icons or semi-gods, but in the context of what we're exploring, other goals. What do? Yajante. They're dedicated and they sacrifice. Shraddhaya, and they do this with faith. Anvitaha, filled with faith. Really, what are they doing? Te, those, api, they are also mam eva kaunteya. In actuality, who are they worshiping? Who are they living for? It's still me. The same mam in verse 22, the same mam in verse 23. Yajanti. They are dedicated in sacrifice, but here's the most important part of this verse. Avidhi purvakam. They're going about this the wrong way. They're going about this the wrong way. And I don't think I need to explain more. I think we know that from being self-reflective in our own lives. Explaining a little bit. When the word mam is used, we can interpret this as Sri Krishna, or we can make this more universal as life. What is the nature of life? Existence, awareness, joy. Isn't everyone living for existence, awareness, specifically joy? Whether I eat too much or eat too little, in both cases, I'm doing it for joy, correct? The person who wants to be an ambitious governor and the person who has a desire for enlightenment, they both want joy, but one is doing this the wrong way, and one who is a seeker is doing this the right way. Avidhi, I'm using the word wrong, maybe a more gentle word is inefficient. They're trying to feel joy in an indirect way, which is inefficient, like was shared in chapter 8 and some earlier verses. In Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm sharing insights about this in Portland. There's a part of Srimad Bhagavatam where Sri Krishna becomes all of the calves and children. And when the calves and children return to the village, all of the cows are offering more milk than usual to these calves. The parents are offering more love to these children than usually. Why? Because they're directly offering this to Sri Krishna. So more milk, more love. We tend to do this in an indirect way. My child is like Sri Krishna. And I just say that. Nobody actually feels that. But if one can feel that in a direct way, can you imagine the potential that will come from us? Imagine how lovely you all are in Meaningful Mornings to be with every person like that, active listening, empathizing, and so on. This is the truth. Your table is Sri Krishna. You are Sri Krishna. If that's too much, your table is existence. You are existence. How can you deny that? These are philosophical verses, sharing this finally in a practical way. Slow down. All of you joining on a Saturday morning is a great expression of slowing down. Now what will you do while everyone's sleeping? You'll reflect. What a great investment on a Saturday morning to experience this and then to reflect. When you slow down, you can step back then. And when you step back, you can see more who you are, who everyone is. If you slow and step and see, the fulfillment of all of this is you will smile on. If I start to feel that everyone is Sri Krishna, how can I not smile? Yesterday, when my host was driving me, then someone shared 2 wonderful explicit words about him. Rolled down his window and said, "This is what you are, bleep and bleep." And both of us just smiled. That's Sri Krishna testing us. From inspiration to application, your application was to memorize verse 22. I'm continuing with the same application. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, because this is that important. And verse 22 is actually connected to another amazing verse which you know about, involving a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene. Yoga. Be joy. Shema.